Chapter 30 Divination and Omens. Kitab al-Kahanah wa al-Tatayyur. Chapter 1479 Regarding fortune tellers. Narrated Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, if anyone resorts to a diviner and believes in what he says, according to the version of Musa, or has intercourse with his wife according to the agreed version when she is menstruating, or has intercourse with his wife through her anus, he has nothing to do with what has been sent down to Muhammad, according to the version of Musaddad, Great Sahih. Chapter 1480 Regarding astrology. Narrated Abdullah ibn Abbas. The Prophet said, if anyone acquires any knowledge of astrology, he acquired a branch of magic, of which he gets more as long as he continues to do so. Great Hassan. Narrated Sayyid bin Khalid al-Juhani. The Messenger of Allah led us in the morning prayer at Al-Hudaybiyah after rain which has fallen during the night, and when he finished he turned to the people and said, do you know what your Lord has said? They said, Allah and his apostle know best. He said, this morning there were among month servants one who believes in me and one who disbelieves. The one who said, we have been given rain by Allah's grace and mercy, is the one who believes in me and disbelieves in the star. But the one who said, we have been given rain by such and such a rain star, is the one who disbelieves in me and believes in the star. Great Sahih. Chapter 1481 Al-Qat and Al-Iyafa being dissuaded by birds. Narrated Qabisa. I heard the Messenger of Allah say, augury from the flight of birds, taking evil omens, and the practice of presomancy pertain to divination. Tark, it is used in the sense of divination, in which woman threw stones. Iyafa, it means geomancy, by drawing lines. Great Daif. Narrated Muhammad bin Jafar. On the authority of Auf, Iyafa means to makes the birds fly by threatening them. Tark means lines drawn on the earth. Great Sahih Maktu. Narrated Muawiyah bi al-Hakam al-Sulami. I said, Messenger of Allah, among us there are men who practice divination by drawing lines. He said, there was a prophet who drew lines, so if anyone does it as he drew lines, that is right. Great Sahih. Chapter 1482 At-Tiyara. Narrated Abdullah ibn Masud. The Prophet said, taking omens is polytheism. Taking omens is polytheism. He said it 3 times. Every one of us has some, but Allah removes it by trust in Him. Great Sahih. Narrated Abu Hurairah. The Messenger of Allah as saying, there is no infection, no evil omen or serpent in a hungry belly, and no hama. A nomadic Arab asked, How is it that when camels are in the sand, as if they were gazelles, and a mangy camel comes among them and it gives them mange? He replied, who infected the first one? Ma'mar, quoting al-Suri, said, a man told me that Abu Huraira narrated to him, saying that he heard the Prophet say, a deceased camel should not be brought with a healthy camel to drink water. He said, the man then consulted him and said, did you not tell us that Prophet had said, there is no infection, no serpent in a hungry belly, and no hama? He replied, I did not transmit it to you. Al-Suri said, Abu Salama said, he had narrated it, and I did not hear that Abu Huraira had ever forgotten any tradition except this one. Note, the majority of scholars interpret this to mean that these things in and of themselves do not transmit or cause harm through supernatural or hidden means, but that Allah is ultimately in control and any fearful superstition around this is false. Great Sahih. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Messenger of Allah, as saying, there is no infection, no hama, no other promising rain, and no serpent in a hungry belly. Great Sahih. Narrated Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, there is no ghoul. Great Hassan Sahih. Abu Dawud said, Malik was asked about the meaning of his saying, there is no Safar. He replied, the people of pre-Islamic Arabia used to make the month of Safar lawful for war. They made it lawful in 1 year and unlawful in another year. The Prophet said, there is no Safar. Great Sahih Maktu. Muhammad B. al-Mustafa said to us, on the authority of Baqiyah, he said, I asked Muhammad B. Rashid about the meaning of the word Hama. He replied, the pre-Islamic Arabs used to say, when anyone dies and is buried, a bird comes forth from his grave. I asked, what did he mean by Safar? He said, I heard that the pre-Islamic Arabs used to take evil omen from Safar. So the Prophet said, there is no Safar. Muhammad B. Rashid said, we heard someone say, it is a pain in the stomach. They said that it was infection. Hence, he said, there is no Safar. Great Sahih Maktu. Narrated Anas, the Prophet, as saying, there is no infection and no evil omen, and I like a good omen. Good omens means a good word. The majority of scholars interpret this to mean that these things in and of themselves do not transmit or cause harm through supernatural or hidden means, but that Allah is ultimately in control and any fearful superstition around this is false. Great Sahih. Narrated Abu Huraira, when the Messenger of Allah heard a word and he liked it, he said, we took your omen from your mouth. Great Sahih. Narrated Atta, people said, Safar is a pain within the belly. I asked, what is Hama? He said, people said believed that Hama, which is an owl or a night bird, and which shrieks, is the spirit of man. It is not the spirit of man, it is an animal. Great Sahih Maktu. Narrated Urwa ibn Amir al-Qurashi, when taking omens was mentioned in the presence of the Prophet, he said, "The best type is the good omen, and it does not turn back a Muslim. If one of you sees anything he dislikes, he should say, O Allah, no one brings good things except thee, and no one averts evil things except thee, and there is no might and power but in Allah." Great Daif. Narrated Bureyda ibn al-Hasib, the Prophet did not take omens from anything, but when he sent out an agent, he asked about his name. If it pleased him, he was glad about it, and his cheerfulness on that account was visible in his face. If he disliked his name, his displeasure on that account was visible in his face. When he entered a village, he asked about its name, and if it pleased him, he was glad about it, and his cheerfulness on that account was visible in his face. But if he disliked its name, his displeasure on that account was visible in his face. Great Sahih. Narrated Sa'd ibn Malik, the Prophet said, "There is no hama, no infection, and no evil omen. If there is in anything an evil omen, it is a house, a horse, and a woman." Great Sahih. It was narrated from Abdullah bin Umar that the Messenger of Allah said, An omen is in a dwelling, a woman or a horse." Abu Dawud said, "This tradition was read out to Al-Harith bi Miskin, and I was witness. It was said to him that Ibn Qasim told him that Malik was asked about evil omen in a horse and in a house. He replied, There are many houses in which people lived and perished, and again others lived therein, and they also perished. This is its explanation, so far as we know. Allah knows best." Abu Dawud said, Umar Ra said, "A mat in a house better than a woman who does not give birth to a child." Yahya ibn Abdullah ibn Buhair said that he was informed by one who had heard Farwa ibn Musaik tell that he said, "Messenger of Allah, we have land called Abiyan, which is the land where we have our fields and grow our crops, but it is very unhealthy." The Prophet said, "Leave it, for destruction comes from being near disease." Great Daif in chain. Narrated Anas ibn Malik, a man said, "Messenger of Allah, we were in an abode in which our numbers and our goods were many, and changed to an abode in which our numbers and our goods became few. The Messenger of Allah said, Leave it, for it is reprehensible." Great Hassan. Narrated Jabir ibn Abdullah, the Messenger of Allah took a man who was suffering from tubercular leprosy by the hand. He then put it along with his own hand in the dish and said, "Eat with confidence in Allah and trust in Him." Great Daif.